Did you see that they were working on a Gotham by Gaslight video game that they cut because of Arkham Asylum, I think?
Yes, literally in my next bullet point.
Oh, I'm not reading ahead, obviously.
No, that's okay. A sub bullet point of my next bullet point. So, how did it do? What was the critical reception? All accounts are that it sold well. I can't find sales data for it online, unfortunately. It definitely would have been recorded in a magazine put out by the distributor called Diamond Previews. So, if you have a November 1989 copy of Diamond Previews hanging around, let me know. But for whatever reason, that data's not online. But according to Augustine, it bought him a Jeep. So it sold well enough for him to buy a vehicle. And has remained in print ever since, which is one of the highest praises that you can have of a comic book.
Yeah.
Comic books often fall out of print, but there are many, 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 many collected editions of this book. And it's been adapted into many other things. As you were saying, Brian, there was a video game in development before Arkham Asylum in 2011, and there is leaked prototype footage on the internet. Have you seen the video of it?
No, I saw pictures of it, but I haven't seen video of it.
Follow this link, man, and watch this video.
All right.
Because it's pretty rad. You can tell it's a super early prototype. Like, they don't have much.
Yeah. The cape flows really nicely.
Yes, you can tell they spent all of their time on like fabric physics.
Oh, wow. Yeah, it flows really nicely. It's pretty fluid.
Yeah, especially for like 2011, right?
Yeah.
Or whenever this was.
Yeah. I think these textures are interesting too, the way the light is interacting.
Yeah, you could tell like what they were trying to do is like, can we get the look right?
Yeah. You can also tell that he's like a beefy Batman as well. Like he's got a ton of muscle, and his legs are like horse legs.
So anyway.
Yeah. Cool.
In addition, it also got the animated movie adaptation. It from what I understand, I did watch it, but it was many years ago, and I don't recall much about it. But from what I understand, it takes a lot of liberties with the story. You watched it, right, Brian?
Yeah, I watched it recently. It's a completely different story.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have Catwoman. She's involved as like part of the plot. It kind of starts out the same way where like Bruce is coming into town after being gone for a while. But pretty quickly he is Batman and he is cleaning up Gotham. You see Poison Ivy, but she is a dancer at a saloon or something like that. And it seems that she is kind of propositioning a John into a alleyway, and she is the first person killed by Jack the Ripper in Gotham.
Really?
Yeah.
Why would you do that? Because there's like Poison Ivy fans, right?
Yeah. I thought it was weird. It was a really, really weird thing to like have her show up and then immediately dispatched.
Mm-hmm.
It's really strange. And
it ends up not being Packer, right?
Yeah. I'll be honest with you. I fell asleep watching it like on 3 different occasions until I finished it. And what I remember is at the end, there's is like a building burning down, and it just like goes to credits.
Okay.
But like it is a wholly different story. There is nothing reminiscent of it other than the time frame to the book.
That's such a shame.
Yeah. So Catwoman takes a big part in it, and she's really vocal with the senator or governor or whoever to be like, you should actually care about this. Like the World's Fair is going to come through and stuff. And they're like, you should, if these were like the wives of rich men, this wouldn't be a problem anymore because they'd have already solved it. But since this is a bunch of poor women being killed, like nobody cares. And you should be ashamed of yourself. And that's like the position that Selena Kyle is taking in it. She ends up kind of working with Batman at one point. I'm probably butchering this a little bit because I'm like jumping from point to point. It's completely different.
Gotcha. It sounds like we don't endorse this movie.
I wouldn't, because it doesn't have all the good stuff that I like so much in the book. Like in the book, it's Batman that could only take place, could solving a crime that could only happen in this time frame. He's not fighting the Joker. He's not fighting Two-Face. He's not fighting, like, they don't even really show up. Those characters are there, so we acknowledge that they exist, but they play no substantive role in the storytelling. And the movie was really different than that. The style was really different. It was fine, but if I were to tell you to pick one, I'd have you pick the book. Book's better.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, it makes sense. you know, like you take something that is 48 pages and we praise it, you know, endlessly for like how it doesn't hold your hand and how it implies so much and about how it's so succinct and it's exactly what you need and nothing more, nothing less.
Yeah.
In terms of visual element, nothing more, nothing less than what you need in terms of story, you know, in terms of pacing, and like that you're going to turn that into a 2.5 hour movie with art that doesn't really look like Mike Mignola, you know, that like has, you know, tons of extra characters. Like it's like padded out, right? Like it's just a different thing.
Yeah. That's what hung me up about it is it, I don't know why you would change it because the book did such a good job. Like I would say the story was perfectly good for like comic book stories and stuff like that. It's way better than the stuff we were reading from the 30s and 40s. And I think adapting it into an animated film would have worked just like you could have just taken it straight from the page up into the film and it would have been fine. But they made a bunch of changes and it just, it smacks of producers, I guess.
Sure. Yeah. I am a believer that like sometimes you have to adapt things to make it work in a different medium, but there's adapting and then there's like riffing and those are two different things.
Yeah.